tomorrow will be better. Make T the subject of this formula. Follow me, dear friends. Solution. Let me start by rewriting this equation. But before then, dear friends, I want you to notice that it's impossible to do the sciences without maths. It's impossible to be successful in chemistry and especially in physics without mathematics. As most of you will notice, this is an equation in physics, but there's a need for the knowledge of mathematics in order to solve this. Because right now, the aim here is to isolate this t, not t squared, not at, not a or t on 2, but t alone, alright? For those of you who are still struggling with making a variable the subject of the formula, subscribe, leave your comment down there, and I can make a special session for you. Okay, so let me start by rewriting this equation in another form which will be a little bit more familiar to you. Look at this. We have d on one side equals ATN square. Now, when we have a fraction like this, which multiplies a term like this one, the denominator can be shared and it becomes a common denominator to all the entire term. Okay, so this is just another form of this. Now, written in this way, you can easily see that t is attached to a by a certain multiplication, and this same t is attached to this 2 here down here by division. It's important to understand this because to isolate t, we will have to do the opposite of each operation that brought whatever is attached to t to it. Okay, for instance, a came to t by multiplication. Therefore, to do away with a, we will have to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. All right, and don't forget this very important part here. 2 here is not a factor. T and 2 didn't come together here by multiplication or division. This is a power, an exponent, or an index. Okay, so this is an index here, and I'll show you how to get rid of it. So let's start with this 2 here. This 2 is linked to t by division. So to do away with this 2, I'm going to do the opposite of division, which is multiplication. Most importantly, dear friends, each time you carry out any operation to the left or to the right of the equation, carry the same operation to the other side of the equation for the equality sign to still be valid. Whatever you do here, you have to do the same the other way. So I start by saying multiply the two sides of the equation by 2. Why am I multiplying again? This is because t and 2 came together by division. So to separate them, I'm going to multiply by 2. Of course, this goes with this like this. And now we are left on the left side with 2 times d is just 2d equals at squared. There isn't any more 2 here. The 2 is gone. The next target now is this a. Here a is what we call the coefficient. A is a coefficient of t, and they came together by multiplication. If you have 80, it's in another way of saying a times t. So to do away with this a, we will have to do, very good, a division, all right? So we will divide both sides of our equation by the opposite of multiplication, which brought these two together. And the opposite of multiplication is division. Very good. So this and this will follow. You leave it as it is because there is no common term here, so nothing cancels nothing here. This means we have 2d all over a to the left, and we have t squared to the right. This is a very crucial point, dear friends, because many candidates here will fall astray and say, divide both sides by 2 to make t the subject. Wrong, dear friends, very wrong. Why? Because 2 here is a power, like I said earlier. Therefore, to do away with t, we will do the opposite of this power, which we call square. And the opposite of the square function is the square root function, all right? In index form, the square root can be written as half, all right? But I'm going to write in a more familiar form, which is the square root. So I'm taking the square root of both sides of my equation, okay? So I'm going to have to the left side, square root of 2d all over a will be equal to, now this square root sign here is going to do away with this square sign. So at the end of the day, I'm left with just t. Therefore, my t, as I can clearly see, is equal to the square root of 2 times t all over a. And that's how simple it is, dear friends. One thing I would like to take note of here is the fact that when dealing with equations, whatever you do on the right side of the equation, that you must do on the left side of the equation for the equality sign to still be valid, because tomorrow will be better.